guys, welcome back to Spark Talk Radio. I am Chris, the Jersey Man Savage, and I am coming to you at this late hour, basically because I'm bored. I know I'm not doing my normally scheduled programs as of right now, the Tuesdays and Saturdays, and I hope you guys are bearing with me on that. Like I told you before, I've been doing a lot as far as, the house hunting and so on and so forth. Work, family time, all that fun stuff. So, but I did want to hop on tonight and do a show because I'm actually getting very frustrated. And that's one of the reasons why I started this, to be honest with you, is to be able to let these frustrations out. So during this conversation, there's probably going to be a bunch of people that are going to be like, oh, he's a bigot, this and that. But I want you to understand something. First of all, the word bigot doesn't mean you're racist, doesn't mean anything. It just means you're intolerable to someone else's views. So keep in mind, before you go call me a bigot, that in order for you to consider me a bigot, you yourself are a bigot. Okay, so I'm gonna squash that one right there because I hate that word. In order for you to call me a bigot, then that means that you're intolerable to my views. So therefore you call me a bigot, and it's just like the old saying, when you point at somebody, you got three fingers pointing back at you. That's pretty much how much of a fool you look calling somebody a bigot. Because again, all the word itself means is you are intolerable to someone else's views or opinions. So this is my opinion, but I also think it falls along the lines of common sense. Because like I've said in some of my other videos, I don't just give opinions. I am a realist. I talk a lot of common sense. I talk a lot of facts. I don't just go by what I think. I am a true believer that everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but this does not make everybody right. Just because you're entitled to your opinion doesn't mean you're correct. And there's some stuff that I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm sure I'm not correct, but I know I'm correct on this one. This one really does not take a rocket scientist to figure out. And I know in today's society, they're really trying to rip the spines out of everybody. They're really trying to make people, come across as hippies and we just accept everything and, there's no real answer to anything and this and that. And that's just asinine, for lack of a better word. Okay. But basically what tonight's topic is going to be on is it's going to be on the transgender conversation that you're hearing so much on the news. And I hear a lot of good coverage on it. I really do. But I'm not hearing what needs to be said about it. Okay? The good coverage is this, I myself, I'm related to people that live different, lifestyles. I have friends that live different lifestyles. I've known people that are transgender. And if that's how you want to live your life, that's fine. But the topic that I really want to get into tonight, as far as that goes, is a couple things. And first of all, I really got to dive in on this one. And I know I touched on this aspect of it a little bit a few shows back, but I really want to drill this one in. Because for some reason, people are just losing their common sense, and it's just not sinking in with them. Okay? We have situations such as, take Adele, for instance, when she paraded her 5-year-old son, I believe it was 5, around, one of the Disney worlds in a dress. Okay, because, she was saying that he wanted to be a girl. He, associates himself as a girl. There's one thing I really, really want to make point here. And the reason why is because there was actually a thing going around Facebook of a picture of this very beautiful young girl, and basically what the caption said was, and I mean, she looked like to be about 12 years old, and the caption on it said, if this was your daughter, how would you feel about her going into the men's room? And of course, there's, a lot of controversy on that. But it turns out that it wasn't a girl. It was actually a boy dressed up as a girl. And this just really infuriates me on a certain point, because we are losing touch with what it actually means to parent our children. Okay? We as parents are not to take a role in understanding a 5-year-old wanting to wear a dress. The whole role of understanding and being, understanding and supportive of our children does have its limits. One of them is when you have a 5-year-old boy or a 5-year-old girl that comes to you and says they want to wear a dress, or they want to dress as a boy and they're a girl. Listen to me. You guys got to understand this, okay? A 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old does not have the mental capacity to associate themselves with an individuality or a sexuality. They're underdeveloped minds. Any pediatric doctor will tell you this. Unless them too are just an extreme liberal or hippie. But they themselves will tell you. They don't know what they're doing. You know, the role of a parent is to parent our children and to help guide them in the best ways for them. One of the things you have to understand as a parent is when your kids come to you and they say, I want to associate myself as a girl or this and that, it is not your job when they're 5 years old to go, okay, I'm going to be supportive, I'm going to be understanding, let me go buy you an Elsa dress, although you're a boy. Or let me go out and get you some jeans and a torn up shirt and a baseball cap because you're a girl that wants to associate themselves as a boy. Look, chances are, especially if you have a young boy and all they have are sisters and siblings, they're probably just watching the girls enjoy dress up time and this and that with all the colors of the dresses and all, and it probably just looks fun to them. So as all young children want, they want to associate with that in a way. They want in on the fun. But there is no 5-year-old child that is going to have the mental capacity to associate themselves with their own sexuality, to come up to you and have a logical conversation and say, Mommy and Daddy, I want to be a girl or I want to be a boy. This is where you as the parent, not their friend, a parent, need to step up and say, listen, you are a boy. That's not what little boys do. Little boys do this or little boys that. Sure, if you have a son and they have a sister, you have a son and a daughter, and she's playing with Barbie dolls and he wants to sit down and play Barbie dolls with her. Honestly, as a father, I have a son and a daughter. If they want to play Barbie dolls together or tea time, have at it. But there is a responsibility to parenting that when your child starts going down the wrong road, and I know there's some that would love to persecute me for that. Oh, that's not a wrong road. For a 5-year-old, it is. And if you cannot make that distinction, then maybe the 5-year-old has a better mental capacity than you do. A 5-year-old cannot make the mental capacity to identify with sexuality or individuality. You as the parent, as the so-called mature adult, need to be the one to guide your children right. When has it become that parents are allowing such things as social societies to tell them, you know, you have to be accepting instead of actually parenting your child? If you ask me, it's an excuse of laziness. You need to stop and raise your child. You need to be active with your child. You need to have the backbone to look at your child and say, no, you're 5 years old. You're a boy. You're not wearing a dress. They may cry. Oh, well, any doctor will tell you, any pediatric doctor will tell you, crying never hurt any child. So let it go. They're not going to go kill themselves because you didn't let them wear a dress. They're 5 years old. They don't even know what they want. Think back when you were 20. Did you know what you wanted? You're going to sit there and tell me a 5-year-old is associating themselves as a boy or a girl? Please. Let's get real. All right? Let's have a reality check. Now, on the flip side, if you do have a child and say they turn, I don't know, 15, 16, maybe 17 years old, and then the child at that time comes to you and says, you know, Mom, Dad, I'm attracted to the opposite sex, or I feel like I'm a girl, I feel like I'm a boy, then yeah, absolutely. Then you cross that bridge. Then you deal with it. Because at that age, their hormones are coming into play. They're starting to get a feel for, you know, what's actually going on. I still don't believe a 16-year-old still knows what they want. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, we've all been there. At that time, you start to get a better understanding of who you are, where you stand, what you're attracted to, and what you're not. So you cross that bridge at that time. You do not cross that bridge when your child is 5 years old, 3 years old, 6 years old. I mean, the simple fact that I'm hearing this all over the news, all over social media, all over everything is just literally disturbing. I'm sorry, guys, but it really is. It is beyond disturbing. I mean, what is happening to this country? It's like parents refuse to be their kids' parents. They want to be their friends. First of all, if you want to be your child's friend, you should have never gotten knocked up to begin with, because that's the first mistake you're making right there. You want to be their parents. You want to be respected as their parents. No friends can say, I had a part to do with their success by being a friend. But as a parent, you have a special place in your child's heart and in their life to be able to guide them in a way to when they grow up and they're successful, you can look back and go, I parent that kid right. I did what was right. No friend has that luxury. And just simply sitting back and doing this, sure, honey, whatever you want. Go ahead, whatever you want. Go do what you want, dress how you want, did it. That's not parenting, okay? That's taking the easy road out. That's not parenting. When that child grows up, you can't take any credit for being a part of their life because you weren't a part of their life. You had nothing to do with the structure that was built in that child growing up, besides being a poor excuse of a parent. We really need to grow up. I mean, take a look around. Honestly, whether you're conservative, liberal, I don't care what you are, take a look around. Seriously take a step back and just be like, look, I understand we're supposed to be accepting, okay? And even that's a bunch of crock. I don't know if you guys have forgotten, but this is America. You want to be gay, be gay. You want to be transgender, go do it. Do what you want to do. But do not sit there and tell me I have to accept it. I'm going to be honest with you right now. I believe in only man and woman marriage. I do not believe that gay, lesbian, bisexual, any of that is right. Does this mean that I'm going to get in your face about it if that's how you choose to live your life? Absolutely not. As long as you're not bringing it to my front door, honestly, dude, I could care less. But see, that becomes one of the biggest problems with this topic. Is, first of all, those that are transgender are less than 1% of the entire population of this country, which is over 300 million people. So they're like a speck of sand. And we're worried about bathrooms for them. But moving on. Those that actually classify themselves not as transgender, but gay, lesbian, and bisexual are only 1.2% of the entire population. So that's another speck of sand. So why is it we have come to a point in this country that is supposed to be land of the free, this is where people are really going to hate me, democracy, not socialism, a democracy, the majority rules, not the minority. Why is it we allow these minorities to rule everything? You know, all these so-called do not do's that we have, all these so-called American witch hunts that we have, are created by minorities, and we, the majority, are actually stupid enough to sit back and let it happen. You know, I actually had a very interesting conversation with a friend of mine not too long ago, and it went into, you know, a little political with voting and this and that. And I told him, I said, dude, I said, the liberals are not as much as you think. I said, to be honest with you, it's been proven that the majority of this country are conservatives. I said, the problem is that the majority of the voting community are liberals, because a lot of the voting community are either the elderly, and the government buys their votes through Medicare and everything else, or they're state and federal workers. A lot of the conservatives do not get out there and vote because they're sick and tired of the political game, and they're not stupid. They know it doesn't matter which one you put in there. We're just going to end up with the same crap. So we live in this country where we're supposed to be a democracy. Majority is supposed to rule, but for some reason the majority seems to be in apathy, and the minority seems to be the ones, and they get their way. So when we have a minority of people that are sitting there going, "Oh, love your kids, be understanding," and the majority are sitting there going, "My son's not walking around in a dress." Why is it so many people seem to be afraid? You do realize this stuff's not a law, right? You do realize this isn't a law. You're not going to go to jail for telling your son they can't wear a dress. But you act like it. Oh, I can't do that. Why not? You're not supposed to. Who says? A minority? It's not a law. I'll tell my son any day of the week, you cannot wear a dress. You are a boy. Now, when he gets older, and we come to a actual logical and educated conversation on how he is not, attracted to the opposite sex, or he identifies himself as the opposite sex, then that's something to entertain. Then that's something that you talk about. That is a bridge that you now must cross. But until that day, no, not crossing it. Especially at 5 years old. My son is 2. If he came at me and wanted to wear a dress, nope. But daddy, I don't care. Wah, cry all you want. It doesn't hurt you. Like, seriously, you have to be the guiding force in your child's life. A lot of people in this country, they even believe in evolution. Evolution teaches us that we stop acting like apes. We may have came from them, but we stop acting like them. We're supposed to be intelligent. Then why is it that there's a minority in this country that wants the majority to go against every gut feeling that they have just so that they feel accepted? And you're dumb enough to keep falling for it. I really don't get this. But you know what? I don't look to hurt people's feelings, but I'm going to tell you the truth. People may not always like what I have to say, but you can never say I lied to you. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you allow your child to dress up in the opposite sex or to act like the opposite sex at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, because you actually mentally think that a child that young has the mental capacity to associate themselves with a certain sex or sexuality of any sorts, you're either A, stupid, or B, doing stuff to your kids that you could be arrested for, and you need to stop. I really do not understand what is wrong with this society. I have tracked the majority of it down, doing a lot of research. A lot of this thought has come from the hippie era, where, make love, not war, do whatever feels good. And it also seems to come back, and these are the people that are getting into office, that are affecting our education. And these are the ones that are actually making these stupid minority rules and making the majority feel like idiots because we feel we have to follow them. They're not even laws. But like I said, we seem to be in some type of apathy where I can't tell you how many times I talk to somebody, they're like, "Oh, you can't say that," and I just did. I have freedom of speech. And it's always the liberals that are always fighting for all these things. They always say, "Oh, well, we're fighting for freedom of speech." Yeah, then why do you call me a bigot when I open my mouth? Hypocrite. But these are the things that we need to start really taking into consideration. But I just don't understand. Like, a lot of people, they started bringing up on a lot of these shows. They were like, well, even the Native Americans, they accepted different sexualities, different cultures, creates different... No, just like my dad used to say, if your buddy jumped off a bridge, you got to follow it. Look, just because they do it don't mean we have to do it. We are America. We are different from any other country to a point to where anybody, especially these days, can succeed as long as you have the backbone and the energy to get off your lazy butt and go out and chase your dream. Sometimes you fall on your butt. How many times did it take Thomas Edison to make the light bulb? Over 200? But he finally made it. These are the things that have made this country great. And people are so willing just to give it away. For socialism. or whatever else, because they want everything for free, because you have become lazy. But we really have to stop giving way for our children. We have to parent our children. We have to educate our children. The government's not going to do it. The government doesn't give a damn about you and doesn't give a damn about me. The government does what they do to buy votes. There's a minority out there. We can get their votes. So we'll say we're for gay marriage. I can almost guarantee you that every single president-elect that's for gay marriage probably goes home behind closed doors and goes, ugh. If one of my kids ever said that they were gay, I'd kill them. They're lying to you to buy your votes. But yet here you are at a Bernie Sanders deal going, yay! And he's sitting there going, suckers. The majority of this country do not accept those types of lifestyles. You may not want to hear it, but they don't. They don't. But a politician is going to tell you anything he can to get your vote. And you do it. But that's not even the point. This subject is you as a parent. This subject is you raising your children. And how you have allowed your children to run your homes. In a nutshell, that's what it comes down to. You have allowed your children to run your homes. You know, you're not the adult. You're not the parent. Because you sit there like a bobblehead every time they come to you, Daddy and Mommy, I want this, I want that. What's that do? Your role as a parent is to bring discipline, guidance, love, and character to your children. How does this bring any of that? If you do not love your children enough to tell them no, then you do not love them. If you do not love your children enough to tell them, I don't care what the world says, you're a boy, you're wearing jeans, you do not love them. You can't say that you love somebody when you're guiding them down a path of destruction. There is a difference between acceptance and failure. You are not accepting a 5-year-old with a sexuality of wanting to be a girl when their mental capacity doesn't even understand that. They don't understand it at all. But yet you want to sit there like you're doing this great deal for them. And you're not. You're failing them. They need a mother, they need a father that's going to guide them. That's going to show them the right way at that age. When I was 5 years old, if my parents would have let me wear a dress, I probably would have too. And so would have you. Because at 5 years old, all a kid wants to do is whatever he can get away with. He doesn't think he's gay. Like I said, no 5-year-old, boy or girl, knows anything about sexuality unless you're allowing your 5-year-old to see stuff they shouldn't be or doing stuff to your 5-year-old you shouldn't be doing. So if your 5-year-old knows anything about sexuality, what's your problem? What are you exposing them to? I have a 7-year-old daughter who doesn't have a clue. All she wants to do is run around, wear her princess dresses, and play Barbie dolls, exactly what girls do. And if she came up to me and told me at 7 years old, I want to be a boy today, I would laugh in her face and tell her to knock it off. Now, like I said, if she comes up to me 16, 17, 18 years old with that same deal, that's an issue. They have the mental capacity to understand their own sexuality and individuality at that time. But at 7? No. Don't believe me? Ask your doctor. Go to a pediatrician. Next time you take your kids in for their shots or their checkups. Hey, doctor, be honest with me. My 5-year-old, can he associate himself as a girl? He's going to look at you like you have 10 heads. As your son's sitting there on the doctor's seat or bed or whatever the heck it is, crashing cars together. He's going to look at you like, are you for real? He's a kid. Kids need our guidance. We need to be parents. We're supposed to be guides. We're supposed to be doing things for our children so that they don't make the same mistakes we did, so that they have a brighter future and a better future than we did. And just sitting back and being that hippie of an accepting parent is not it. You have to learn the word no. You have to learn that is not who you are. Like I said, if they get closer to being an adult, 16, 17, 18 years old, different story. Their mind capacity is completely different. They are starting to understand their sexuality. They understand they're not attracted to this. They understand that, I don't like wearing dresses. It doesn't feel right. I don't feel like a girl. That is a educated argument to go against with your child. But if you want to be a airhead like Adele and parade your 3 or 5 year old child through Disneyland in a dress because they wanted to wear it at 3 or 5 years old, the kid would wear a clown outfit if you let him. He's 3. He's 5. Whatever he was. And then what? I'm supposed to sit here and say, oh, she's understanding. She's understanding of her child. She's trying not to mentally scar him. He's a kid. Mentally scar him. Really? It's not like she's holding him down, beating him ragged. She's parenting him. Our children learn from us. And you can teach your children to be accepting of other lifestyles without enforcing it on them. Because people like Adele and other celebrities out there that are purposely dressing their 3 and 5 year old kids up as the opposite sex, they're going to grow up with that. There's a difference between being accepting and forcing an idea on someone and brainwashing them. At 5 years old, the kid has no idea. Mommy's put me in a dress. I thought girls wore this, but mommy's put me in this, so whatever. And then they grow up like that. Next thing you know, they're 16-year-olds wearing a dress, and they're like, oh, we accept him. No, you created him. You didn't accept him. You started doing this stuff to him at a tender age when their brain was still in process and learning mode. And you corrupted your child. What's wrong with you? Learn the difference between acceptance and how I look at it, but abuse. Just because you want to be accepting, you let your child that doesn't understand anything of this subject to dress up and parade them around Disneyland with a big smile on your face. I hope that kid grows up, sees a picture of them, looks at his mom and goes, what the hell were you thinking? I wish I could be there for that one. But honestly, people, it is time for us to grow up. It is time for us to take parenting back. And you know what? If the minority doesn't like it, oh well. If the government doesn't like it, oh well. Last time I checked, this is still America. They answer to us, not the other way around. They don't like it, oh well. But we need to start bringing this country back to the way it was. And the only way it's going to happen is when you decide to start parenting your child instead of being a friend. I'll be my children's friends when they become adults. And they respect me for having an impact on their life. Not just accepting everything of their life. It's going to be one or the other. You want to impact your children? Then impact it. You just want to sit back like some loser on a couch? Yeah, do whatever you want. That's not impacting. That's not loving. That's laziness. You have no claim on that kid's future. You can't sit back and someone come up, oh, you did a good job. No, you didn't do a good job. You did nothing. You let your child raise themselves. You gave them no guidance, and any success they have in their future, they made it on their own. Because you didn't want to be a parent. You have no legacy. Because you didn't impact your child to make a legacy. Wake up. Anyhow, like I said, some people may not like this video. Probably sitting there going, oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't say that. He's a bigot. Remember what I said about bigot? You call me a bigot, makes you one. It's the whole finger with 3 more pointing back at you. Look up the meaning of the word. Anyhow, I'm going to get off here. I had a late night at work. I definitely just had to get on and do my little venting here and get that out. Comment, share if you liked it. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter. It's still truth. Honestly, you may not even consider it truth, but again, it is. And like I said, there's way more people in this country that feel more conservative about this topic than the minute grain of sand of people that even care about it. It's just the minute grain of sand are the ones that keep stomping their feet like 5-year-olds in a candy store until they get their way and they make themselves heard. Why the more conservative people are just sitting back going, look at these fools. So keep making yourself look stupid. That's up to you. Anyhow, I hope you guys, for those of you that did enjoy it, thank you. For those of you who didn't, I hope something sank in, because if you didn't enjoy it, that means I'm hitting a nerve. But anyhow, I will talk to you guys later. I don't know when I'll be able to be on again. I'm not able to make my normal timings of Tuesdays and Saturdays at 12. I, again, apologize for that. We're still going through a lot of stuff with the bank. Not quite sure where that's going to land as far as the house we're supposed to be getting. I still hope we get it, though, because then I can actually make up a good studio for this. But I will be seeing you guys around. I'll be leaving posts, and feel free to post something on my wall. Feel free to comment on this video. Feel free to, share, like, all that fun stuff. Help me get out there, guys. You all have a good night. God bless, and I'll see you later. Bye.